Your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number sports station 97.3 The Fan. Today, we're here at Fan Fest. A great time. We got a great crowd. A lot of Padres fans excited for the season, excited for 2026. And it's fun to be out here at Fan Fest. I mean, this thing has grown year after year since we started, really airing Padre games. But this is going to be a fun day for a lot of people. I know they got the garage sale going on. You can be on the field today and play catch. You can catch a fly ball. You can throw in the bullpen. And just fans get to go enjoy the wonders that is Petco Park. Get to do some question and answers with some players, and the atmosphere is here great. I'm ready to start the season tomorrow. I mean, it's go time already, and this is the first kind of real kickoff to the season, if you will, with the Fan Fest. So it's been great meeting a lot of you guys out there. It's been great, seeing a lot of happy Padres fans, a lot of kids getting the baseball side in. But Frank, I'm excited to be here all day. And we got a great guest list today. Mason Miller's going to join us in about 10 minutes or so. He's going to be here to talk with us. Joe Musgrove's going to join us in the next hour. Quick 2-hour show today. Gwynn and Chris will take over after us to kind of finish the day up around 4 o'clock. If you come down here today and you come say hi to us, make sure you sign up with Hamby and our promotional team. We're going to be giving away a Yu Darvish signed baseball and T-shirts throughout the day. So in order to win, got to sign up with us. But overall, you can't not be excited for Padres baseball, Frank, if you go to Fan Fest. I mean, it's been so fun seeing everybody energized, ready to go for Padres baseball. And say what you want about the offseason, how last season ended. There's always that sense of excitement when you get to Fan Fest.
Yeah, I don't know how much of us coming here on Tuesday took out of it. I mean, it's still really, really big, as I believe we already have the big hard-throwing flamethrower coming over here with us already.
Yeah, let's get this thing rolling. Make sure we got the camera lined up.
Yeah,
I'd say everybody's been kind of early today, but Mason Miller making his way. We'll get them all hooked up right here as soon as we're ready to go. But here at Fan Fest, again, we're going to have Mason Miller on here in just a couple of moments, and then we're going to get to Joe Musgrove in just a little bit. But Mason, Braden Surprenant, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for stopping by with us. Really appreciate it. I'm going to have to sit or something. Or you're going to have to sit. You tower over me by almost an entire foot. Let me get that set up. How we doing?
Great. I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Mason Miller joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. This is a pretty fun Fan Fest. I know a lot of teams do this for your first time in San Diego, being able to do the Fan Fest part. What do you think about the crowd and how everybody's excited for the season?
I'm ready to go right now. we fast forward a couple months and just get this thing started. No, the weather here is amazing. Just getting around the ballpark, being around the fans. This really gets not only the fans excited, but us excited too. And I'm really just chomping at the bit to get down to Arizona and get things rolling.
You got limited time here in San Diego, but, for you, your family, I know you had to move and all that fun stuff. That's not necessarily fun for you guys off the field. What has San Diego been like aside from playing games? Have you been able to enjoy it at all? What's your favorite parts about this city so far?
Man, it's hard to pick one. The weather is an easy answer, but yeah, everybody here made the process of getting here super easy, and we really didn't have a lot of off days. I think I had one off day in San Diego in those 2 months. But yeah, the food's awesome here. Being this close to the beach, just walk down there with a coffee in the morning, that's a real treat. You don't get that in many other cities.
We're talking with San Diego Padres closer Mason Miller. Now, there were some talks about maybe you dabbling back in the starting pitching role. I mean, obviously that's a different approach. Just for somebody that's done both things, what's the preparation level like to get ramped up to be a starter compared to what you have done now so successfully as a reliever? What's the preparation like between the two tasks?
Yeah, I think a good analogy is just it's a longer takeoff ramp, longer runway. Spring training is a lot of, the starters building up. I think if you talk to a lot of players, like 3 or 4 weeks of spring training would be good for them, but that 6 weeks is really important for the starters to get built up to the point where they're going to be throwing 90 and 100 pitches every 5-6 days again. So the preparation changes a little bit, but I think as a reliever, it's a blessing that you're able to spend more time refining your craft and working on what you need to, as opposed to just, getting to the number of pitches you need to get to that day.
You decided to go with the closer role. The Padres want you to be in the closer role, be a bullpen guy. You got traded over to San Diego. There's a lineage of closers. I mean, how cool is it for you to be part of that lineage now of guys like Trevor Hoffman and all the all-stars that have been in the closer role, and to be able to run out of the bullpen here at Petco Park to maybe a new song next year, but being part of that lineage, how does that make you feel if you get to be part of that club?
It's a privilege. It really is. And having guys around here, Hoffy obviously, but, a lot of former players rolling through, just you see how much it matters. So to be able to put on the jersey, be able to run out of that bullpen late in the games, important situations, that's something I don't take lightly and is a real honor to do.
Something that, again, you necessarily, in your story, and I know you've told your story a handful of times, and there's a lot of causes that, because of your story that you're a big component of that we want to talk about in a little bit. But you had a very interesting story in college to a point where, you find out you have diabetes, which you didn't realize you had your entire life. You got to now train and prepare with that. It's, increased your velocity. And then with an extra year in COVID, you went from maybe taking a finance job to now pitching at the major league level. Tell us real quickly about that journey for you. And did you ever get a surreal moment of walking into a ballpark and like, this is my life, and it could have been something way different?
I try to remind myself of that every day. My buddies always joke with me, thank God you didn't take the finance job. It really just everything lined up the way that it did. And I truly am blessed to be here and to pitch in a beautiful stadium like this, travel around and play in the major leagues. And that's certainly not something I take lightly. And moments like these where you get to interact with the fans, interact with kids, and, really just give yourself that perspective of how much this means to so many people outside of ourselves. It means a lot to us too.
I know you're locked in all the time when you're on the mounds. It's a profession, right? I mean, you get to enjoy it sometimes, but how many times in your career have you been able to take in any type of moment and be like, I'm pitching in a major league stadium, I'm pitching at Yankee Stadium or Fenway Park or a traditional place, and are there any times where you still get to feel like a kid even though you're doing a job?
I think every day when I go out there to play catch at 3:30 in the afternoon, I'm here at the ballpark before anybody else is. I get to go out, do my work, and get ready to play in a Major League Baseball game. And I try to take a moment, like right before I go into the game, just center yourself, ground yourself, and remind yourself how lucky you are to be doing what you're doing. And a lot of people would love to be in the position that I am and any of these players are. So that's not something we take lightly, and we show up every day like somebody's trying to take it from us.
We talked about a little bit of your journey throughout college. The velocity went up and down, right? You got diagnosed with diabetes. You figured out how to manage that. You're, a great symbol of confidence, I think, for a lot of kids that get diagnosed with that disease that we'll talk about in a second. But velocity kept ticking up and up and up. That first time you hit triple digits, and you knew you hit triple digits, how fast did that feel off your hands? And, what was the reaction of, I just touched 100 right there?
I really don't have a single moment to point back to. I didn't have the data that we have access to at stadiums nowadays, where you just kind of, look around and see how hard it was. The first time seeing it back after the draft, that's like a milestone, a check mark,
Yeah.
But ultimately it's not about how hard you're throwing it. It's just about going out there and competing. So, I just like feeling good out there, feeling the ball coming out easy. When I try to throw it harder, usually it ends up dropping down a mile an hour or two. So, just kind of staying in the flow state and, just letting your body do its thing.
We're talking with Mason Miller, San Diego Padres closer here at Fan Fest, the Braden Surprenant Show, special Saturday edition. You went to a first pitch dinner not too long ago, Gardner Webb.
Yeah.
I emceed one last night, University of San Diego. Got to see a lot of, college kids. You were once there. You got your number retired. What was your experience like at Gardner Webb? I know you were throwing a bullpen there the other day. What was it like to go back and have your jersey retired at some place that you played at?
Yeah, I think it's awesome to have those chances. You know, we talk a lot about perspective and things that give you that perspective. You know, nothing really better than going back to a place that you were for a big period of time in your life, and the feelings you felt there. You know, what your goals were. You know, how you viewed life in general, and now going back there and kind of feeling those feelings again, but with all the learning and perspective that you've gained over these next couple years. So I think it's just an awesome point to reflect and, you know, express your gratitude to those people that were helping you and fortunately are still there, you know, and just being grateful and remembering where you came from.
Talking with Mason Miller, and, you know, let's talk about the season coming up. I mean, obviously the bullpen got a bunch of dogs in it like it was last year. You got Ruben Niebla as the pitching coach still. Craig Stammen's now the manager. You got a lot of pitching help around you. Yep. Good start, beginning part of the starting staff. What's your excitement level for the season, and what are you looking forward to most taking the field with these guys?
Man, it's hard to pick one thing, isn't it? I'm looking forward to opening day. You know, the ballpark packed out, and, you know, just us getting to put all the hard work that we've done these last couple months and we'll continue to do in spring training, put it to the test and get back out there and compete for real.
I got a question for you. I'm going to steal from the morning show. They were talking about this. So, you know, you're a sports fan. I know you played golf in high school too, but in different sports, there's different times where the fans go nuts, right? Offense has the ball in football, you're a little quiet, right? Yeah. When defense is going, you're getting loud. Baseball, there's not really too much of a time. When do you like hearing crowd noise? Is it always when you pitch? Who do you think it benefits? And, you know, when do you want to really feel that energy at home, away? Talk to us about the crowd noise. It's different in baseball. It's just kind of a different vibe. It
is. It's incredibly different. At that moment right before the pitch is about to be delivered and the air kind of like sucks out of the stadium, and, you know, it could be real loud, but everybody pauses for 1 second. You know, I feel like that's the moment for me as the pitcher where I feel like I have everybody's attention, everybody's breath like in my hand with this pitch, and that's special. And I feed off that. But there's nothing beats running in from the bullpen and hearing everybody cheering, excited, and, you know, in my case, hopefully about to bring home a W for the boys.
Would you rather? I mean, it's hard to compare because San Diego's great and the crowd noise is great.
Yeah.
There's got to be some enjoyment though when you're running in on the road and everybody's screaming not for you but for the other guy, and you silence the crowd. What's that feeling like at a big league level?
Yeah, usually after the first couple pitches for me, you know, just get in there, get in the zone, you know, swing and miss, maybe set one guy down. But, you know, baseball's a game of momentum, and the momentum can shift really, really fast. So as a guy out of the bullpen, you just want to keep the momentum that your guys have established and just keep rolling, you know, be efficient, be pointed, you know, come in there and be on point.
Last thing for you, I know you're very involved in the diabetes community and a lot of kids. Tell us about, you know, the certain foundations you work with and, you know, how people can get involved to help that cause.
Yeah, being in San Diego, you know, I wear a Dexcom device, so looking forward to working with them, you know, in the years to come. But also, you know, Mike King is something, him and his wife Sheila have a foundation, King of the Hill, and that focuses on diabetes as well. So excited to help with them now that I'm here. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to continuing to find those ways to, you know, work through with breakthrough type 1 diabetes. And really, you know, any opportunity I have, I jump at doing that.
Mason, I know you got a very busy day. You're moving all over the place. We appreciate you taking some time with us, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Absolutely.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Mason Miller, host of the San Diego Padres, joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more Padres baseball. Joe Musgrove will join us in the next hour. This is the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. There's a look at some of them. We're going to have Frank kind of walk around as I kind of go through what some of these promotional items are. But the Padres today announced their 2026 promotional schedule, including giveaways, theme games, and events. Every homestand, you can get single game tickets for the 2026 regular season home games on sale on Tuesday, February 3rd. So you got to still wait until next Tuesday at 10 in the morning Pacific time by visiting www.padres.com. Season ticket members have priority access to tickets and enjoy the best available seats. Season ticket memberships have sold out for the 4th consecutive season due to franchise record demand, and therefore all remaining tickets for the 2026 season are available on a single game basis. So these will be, you could buy tickets starting on February 3rd. There are 15 all-fan giveaways planned for the 2026, highlighted by fan favorites such as high-quality wearable, stylish hats, and bobbleheads, all of which take place during select home games throughout the season, limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. There are 3 different styles of hats this year, and there's a bunch of other stuff. We're going to get to that, but we'll just kind of go through the beginning of the season to the end. And see if you can follow along here, Frank, with what we got. But the first giveaway will be on Friday, March 27th. That's the day after opening day. That's the Tony Gwynn opening day. There's going to be an opening series scarf presented by Sequan Casino Resort. Start the season in style with a Cozy Padres opening series scarf, which looks nice. It's great. Nice little scarf. At beginning games, the early games at Petco Park are usually kind of chilly. But that's a good-looking scarf right there. So that will be against the Tigers on Friday, March 27th. On Monday, March 30th, this one's super cool. On Monday, March 30th, they have the night. I'm a sucker for 1998 stuff. They have a 1998 belt bag, which is perfect for it's a bag that you could bring into the ballpark, which is awesome. I know my mom's got a bag like that. My girlfriend's got a bag like that. There's a lot of different. My sister's got a bag like that, and a lot of people use them to get in the stadiums, but now you can have a Padres one, which is great. So 1998 colors too. So they've seen they've debuted the original one that they had. They've had a City Connect one, and now they got a Padres 1998 belt bag. So that will be pretty cool for everybody out there. That's Monday, March 30th. On to Thursday, April 9th against the Rockies will be the Manny's Hot Corner bobblehead. So it's Manny Machado playing third base. They got the flames around the side. It's presented by McDonald's. First 40,000 in attendance. Display-worthy collectible features Machado at third base and is a keepsake for all the faithful. That's a nice little. I like the little bottom there. That's pretty cool. What is that? Is that the armband? Pink armband? Yeah, it looks nice. Again, if you want to go back, you can rewatch this on YouTube and take a look at everything in the on the deal here. Let's move on to the next one. Wednesday, April 15th versus Seattle Mariners. The puffer vest presented by State Farm. That's that vest right there on the table. That's pretty nice. The best part about this is, like, when I was a kid, like, some of the giveaways were kind of lame, but now they have made them so legit. I mean, that's a nice little vest right there. It's presented by State Farm. That will be, again, on April 15th against the Seattle Mariners, a Wednesday game at 6:40. Not a Wednesday day game. It's a Wednesday night game. First 40,000 fans get that. Against the Cubs, there's a waffle beanie presented by Motorola Razr. Waffle beanies on April 28th against the Cubs. Top off your fit with a soft waffle beanie made for night games at the a ballpark photo op. This item is limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance as well. So that's pretty cool. I like the bobblehead. The one they had last year was cool too, but the beanie, the one they had last year was cool too. First bobblehead for Mason Miller, Thursday, May 7th, at least in a Padres uniform. They got the Mason Miller bobblehead. Watch your speed. Elite pitching with a bobblehead that nods to Miller's clutch moments on the mound. He's got fire coming off of the baseball on his delivery, which is super cool. You can bring that a little bit closer to the camera if you want. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So Mason Miller bobblehead giveaway Thursday, May 7th. And welcome back to the Braden Surprenant Show, live at Fan Fest. Padres Fan Fest. We're now joined, starting pitcher of the San Diego Padres, Joe Musgrove, jumping in a little bit earlier than what we had, but it's all good. We'll be able to talk with Joe. Joe, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's it been? I mean, you're pulling a lot of directions, of course, today.
A lot of fans out here today, man. It's exciting to see. I think everyone that showed up today is just as excited as we are as players to get back out there.
Let's start with Camp 44. You guys have been doing that. I mean, when officially did you start putting those together? And for anybody that doesn't really know what Camp 44 is, what's kind of the mindset of why you started it and what you guys try to accomplish in the off season?
Yeah, so Camp 44 started, I think, after my first year here, so the off season between 21 and 22. And the idea of the camp is to get everybody together, a week or two before spring training, pitchers and catchers. And, every year there's so much turnover with roster, and you got new guys coming in, you got new catchers that you haven't thrown to before. So on the player side, it gives us a chance to, to make a new friend, so that when you show up at spring training, you're not coming into a brand new clubhouse blind and not knowing anybody. That can be a bit intimidating at times, and you end up cutting into days in spring training and almost wasting a few days just trying to get your bearings, trying to remember names, meet people. The pitching coaches that watch us throw, they're trying to put together game plans and what we want to work on over the course of spring training, and you end up wasting those first 4 or 5 days getting all that in order. So the idea is get all these guys out here, get to work together, get to throw to your new catchers, and then ultimately just meet each other and build some of that camaraderie so that when you show up to spring, we can kind of hit the ground running from day one.
I'm sure you're just chomping at the bit to get out there and start competing again.
Yeah.
That was how difficult was that for you last year? You've had some injuries in the past, but I just, the way you handled it, at least me watching from afar, seemed like you used some of that old experience for that last season. But you're out there trying to lead and do all that. I know the guys really appreciate it, but had a bit hard watching a lot of those games from the sideline. What was that like being basically being a coach, right?
Yeah, I think it looked like I had it a lot more together than I actually did. Kind of the fake it till you make it thing. But, I know the impact that I have in the clubhouse, and, like you said, my experience in the game is something that you can't just, create out of nowhere. So I really tried to, pour into a little more, like you said, of that coaching role and just be available for the guys. So making every road trip, being at every game, being in the dugout with everybody. Selfishly for me, it was a good feeling to be around the guys and the camaraderie. And I just love this game, and I love all the parts of it, the road trips, the planes, the nights in the hotel after games. Those are some of the best times that you get as a player. So selfishly not wanting to lose out on that for a year, but also just to be there and to share some experience and talk about, lineups that we're facing, and to keep myself in touch with the game, not take a year off of game planning and watching these guys play and kind of keeping up with trends of the league. So partially selfish for me to make sure I'm ready to go when I get back, but also to be an impact on the players and the rest of the guys in the clubhouse.
I coach high school football, and guys get injured, and it's the mental side is also huge. What kind of advice do you have to younger players that might have a serious injury and that mental side of coming back, because your body will start getting ready, but that first time to really go full go again, I'm sure there's a little bit of nerves in there. From your experience, what would you give to some young athletes that have to go through that the first time?
Yeah, the basic concept for me is the way I see it is, in the end, everything is going to be fine, and I'm going to get back to where I want to be. And if I'm not back to where I want to be, then it's not the end. I'll just kind of keep working until I get there. But it's the idea that I know it's going to be okay, and it's just a matter of time before it is. So I think, the luxury for me in this case is I had a year. No one expected me to be back, for at least a calendar year. And if we got into the off season, now we're looking at 15, 16 months. So there was plenty of time. So I was able to kind of slow play the rehab, make sure I was in a good spot to take the next jump and take on the next challenge in the rehab. But there's a lot of down days, man. There was weeks at a time where I could barely move my arm. I couldn't throw a ball, and I was supposed to be progressing and moving forward. But you got to listen to your body, and you got to trust that things are going to work itself out. The body has a magical way of healing itself. You just got to provide it, the opportunity to. So staying on top of the rehab work, staying on top of the recovery, trying to eat right, and, provide my body with the best opportunity it can to heal.
We're talking with Joe Musgrove here on the Braden Surprenant Show, starting pitcher for the San Diego Padres, live at Fan Fest. You said this season you're thinking about October, right? Yeah. So you're willing to take maybe some days off rest-wise if you need to. Maybe limit the innings and stuff like that. What's been the, you obviously have a plan with Craig Stammen, but how nice is it to have a former teammate, be your manager, but also a guy that understands what you're going through in terms of pitching to help monitor you get through this season and be ready for October?
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there. A guy that's been in the saddle and done it before and knows what, the feelings are and knows the emotion that goes behind it. And obviously, I would love to go out there and throw 200 innings and not miss a start and, lead the staff again. But I'm very comfortable and at peace with the idea that, I might have to miss a start here. We might have to, take a few extra days rest. My biggest goal is to be healthy and capable of throwing when the postseason comes. So I know there's a lot of work that has to be done to make sure you get into the postseason, but ultimately I want to be able to make an impact when it matters the most. And, Craig's a guy that's going to help me along the way of mapping that out. And I think, the hardest thing between a manager and the players is like the honest, true relationship. There's always that feeling of, you're the superior, you're the manager, I'm under you a little bit. And with Craig, it doesn't feel like that. It's a guy that I've been on the field with and been in battle with before. And he knows the game well, and he knows his players. So I think the communication is going to be very open and very clear. I think with him and Ruben kind of running the staff, I think everyone's going to get the rest they need. They're going to get pushed when they need to get pushed. And I just feel really confident about how Craig's going to go about it.
We're talking with Joe Musgrove, starting pitcher of the San Diego Padres here at Fan Fest on the Braden Surprenant Show. Joe, I mean, being a San Diego kid, I know you've answered this probably thousands of times, but does it ever get old repping your city at a major league level?
I love it, dude. I mean, all you kids I see out here, I was 15, 20 years ago. I was this teenage kid. I had season tickets at Petco Park in right field. And, I had the same dreams of getting to put the jersey on and play one day. And, the odds of you getting a chance to play in your hometown and have some of the success that I've had in my hometown are not very great. So, I paid my dues. I played in Toronto. I played in Houston. I played in Pittsburgh. And then somehow magically got the opportunity. And I have a feeling that AJ had this thought that, this kid that's starting to figure his game out and starting to, really develop and understand who he is as a pitcher, bring him back to his hometown where he's got a passion and a desire, more so than the average athlete to win in this city. I think he thought he could bring the best out in me, and it sure has. When
you pitched here in 2016 in the Futures game, was that your first time professionally pitching at Petco Park? What was that experience like?
I mean, I remember when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I played for the San Diego Stars travel team, and we got to come in pregame and take infield in front of the crowd before the game started. But yeah, up until then, I hadn't stepped foot on that field. So that was the first time I got to go, and I got the opening day or the Futures game start. I got a call from Trevor Hoffman the night before the game. I was out at dinner with Bregman and his family, and I ignored the call because I didn't have the number saved. Right. So I ignored it, sent it to voicemail, and then listened to the voicemail. And I told my dad, I was like, shit, dude, I just hung up on Trevor Hoffman. And but Trevor told me how special a moment this was for me, and that he wanted me to be the starter for the Futures game. And it's something I'll never forget.
Do you get the extra juice so you're a kid growing up watching the Padres, so obviously the National League West, as a kid, you're like, I don't want to deal with any of these guys. It's different now. You're professional. You know all the guys. You know most of the guys in the other team. So, but you get a little extra juice going against some of those division rivals, or maybe the teams that you didn't like when you were a kid. Yeah, definitely. I mean, my dad was good friends with Kevin Mitchell, who was a longtime Giant and one of those legends up there. So I had some kind of love for the Giants, I guess, but I was a San Diego fan, so I grew up to the Beat LA chants, and it was like instilled in me to not like the Dodgers. So getting to step on the field and put the jersey on and have a chance to do something about it is pretty cool. I asked Mason Miller this question. You're a big sports fan. I mean, obviously with the crowd noise, it's different in baseball compared to other sports. When you're watching your favorite football team play and they're at home, you're quiet when the offense is on the field, and you're making noise when defense is on the field. For you, I asked Mason this question, but for you, when do you like the crowd noise the most? Does it help you, or do you think it helps the batter when you're on the road versus home? What's the crowd noise like for you? I think it's all perspective. I mean, like I try to channel that when I'm on the road. You hear the crowd cheering, and you kind of just switch it to like, hey, they're cheering for me. Right. But at home, I mean, it's on the mound. It's you get the strike one, and it's a light rumble. Then you get strike two, and everyone's on their feet, and they're waiting for that last moment. Those are like the moments that I notice and that I hold on to is like, I got this guy on the ropes and I got a chance to put him away. Everyone wants it, especially when you're in 6th, 7th inning, you're at 98 pitches and you got 2 outs and 2 strikes on the hitter. And this is my last pitch I got to make. Like, those are the moments that are everything. And, this fan base is unbelievable, man. And I think we've all gotten to experience, most of the guys in that clubhouse, what it's like to play in an empty stadium in the COVID year. Right. And it's wild what an impact a rowdy fan base makes, and this is one of the best places to do it. It's probably fun silencing a crowd, too, like you did in New York in the playoffs. That's probably a fun feeling also. Dude, I haven't been in a quieter stadium since then. And that was kind of my thought going into it is like, if I can hold them to zeros for the first 2-3 innings and kind of just suck the air out of the stem, it makes the day a lot easier. Just don't give them any reason to get the crowd rowdy, try to keep guys off base and limit these vulnerable situations and try to take the crowd out of it, We're going to finish where we started from, Camp 44. Based on how you guys went through the offseason, you worked a lot with these players. What is something that you want fans to know about what this team's going to do this year and what they should know going into 2026 about this squad?
Yeah, I mean, we got, myself being back healthy. We got Nick Pivetta, who's coming off an amazing year, and now he's a little more comfortable in the setting with the team and pitching in this stadium and experiencing the fan base. Michael King signed back to a deal now where he's, knows he's going to be here for a little bit and has a chance to just, put his work out there. But it's really the culture of this pitching staff, man. I mean, we have extremely competitive guys, guys that know how to work hard, guys that work smart. And I think we got one of the best pitching staffs around as far as, the support pieces with Ruben and Pete and Ben Fritz. And I think Camp 44 is a time for us to bring some of these new guys in and say, hey, this is what we're about here. This is how we do things. And, like Schilt used to say, we don't apologize for having high standards. And, there's an expectation when you come here and play that you're going to carry yourself a certain way and you're going to, put the effort in a certain way. And we don't ever knock people for results. It's a results-based business, but all you can give is all that you have. So if you're putting everything in you got, we can live with that. Down the line, things are going to work themselves out and we'll find our way. But this is a very motivated staff. And I was just talking to the reporters for the media session downstairs. And every year we seem to find ourselves in, the last 5% of rankings and pitching projections. And somehow we end up in the top 5% every year. So, we like the expectations to be low on us, and we like to exceed those expectations and show them what we're made of. So
you got some fiery guys in the starting rotation and in the bullpen. That brings a lot of heat for sure.
We do, and we got a lot of confidence in those guys. I think that's a big part of it. Having the bullpen that we have, we can go out there and attack the zone and get after guys, knowing that if we can get through 5 with a lead, these guys behind us can shut the door.
Joe, I know you're a very popular man today. I know you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you taking the time and look forward to talking to you again. Thanks again.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it, Braden.
Joe Musgrove joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. Big thank you to him. He's got to get going to a lot of different things. We'll see if he can get out of here. He's trying to sign as much as possible, but we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about, kind of recap what happened with Mason Miller and Joe Musgrove. You're listening to a special edition of the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Chris.
If you missed anything that we have said already, if you're driving around, we're talking about the promotional giveaways for the Padres here in 2026. If you want to check out the website, or you could get this, is padres.com/giveaways, and it'll have the whole list. And again, if you want to buy tickets to these games, you could start going. The single game tickets are on sale on Tuesday, February 3rd at 10 in the morning. That's the first chance that you have. Obviously, season ticket memberships have priority to do that. As we move along, we got the Patriotic Aloha shirt for the day after Memorial Day. I think May 26th. So it's a Tuesday. Maybe it's coming before, but celebrate America's upcoming 250th birthday with the Padres theme Patriotic Aloha shirt. Pretty nice. Got the Blue Angels on there. It's got the Padres logo. It's got the Padres military logo on a baseball. Nice little Hawaiian shirt, patriotic, against the Phillies on May 26th. Coming up on Tuesday, June 9th against the Reds. Bogey goes boom bobblehead. You got a Xander Bogaerts finishing his home run swing with his signature gray and maroon bat. So that's pretty cool bobblehead as well. It's presented by Palomar Specialty Insurance on June 9th. So Bogaerts has a bobblehead on Tuesday, June 9th. Coming up on Monday, June 22nd against the Atlanta Braves. Got the Western snapback hat. Kind of looks like a rodeo hat. It's pretty cool looking. It's got San Diego Padres in the Western font, if you will, or San Diego Padres written in Western font with the SD logo in the middle. Pretty cool looking hat right there. That's presented by Petco. First 40,000 fans in attendance will have that one. Again, all of these are for the first 40,000 fans for these, unless I say otherwise. Wednesday, July 8th, Trevor Hoffman bobblehead. He's repping the navy blue 1998 gear. Honor the Hall of Famer and Padres legendary closer with the Trevor Hoffman bobblehead. Presented by Canals. This bobblehead limited the first 40,000 fans, so it's in stride. Trevor Hoffman, kind of a classic look at bobblehead against the Diamondbacks in July. On July 12th, just for the kids, they have the Squeeze Top water bottle, which is a kids giveaway. I don't know if they have that here today because it's a kids giveaway. Again, some of these are for the first 40,000 fans. Some of them are for the first 10,000 fans. It's a kind of little water bottle for kids 14 and under. It looks like an ice cream sundae, which is pretty cool. Tuesday, July 28th. I know a lot of you guys love this one. It's presented by Soapy Joe's, the poncho. Got the San Diego Padres poncho. Looks pretty nice. I like it. I'm sure you'll see a lot of you guys repping that out there at Padre games. That's on July 28th. Bucket hats. Everybody loves the bucket hat. You got a reversible bucket hat, which you have multiple looks for. You have the Padres white home uniform version. You also have the sand away version as well with the swinging fryer on it. Multiple looks. Home and away bucket hat will be Thursday, July 30th against the Giants. A 6:40 start, first 40,000 fans. Coming up on August 10th, a superhero pocket tee presented by San Diego Community Power, which is pretty cool. Usually right after the Comic-Con road trip that the Padres have to go on. So a little bit of a superhero t-shirt. Pretty good front and back. It's got that front pocket. Small logo in the front, big logo in the back. It's good style for a t-shirt, let me tell you. Coming up on Sunday, August 23rd, it's another kids giveaway. You can check that on the website. Monday, August 24th, the next day against the Pirates, you got the Jackson Merrill robbery bobblehead. So it's Jackson Merrill robbing a home run with the blue fence right there in his home uniform. It's a pretty cool looking bobblehead. And then this is the best one. You thought you were going to give away. You thought you were going to get a secret. You thought you were going to get a secret. You thought you were going to find out about the City Connect uniforms. Well, we have the bobblehead for the City Connect uniforms. It just hasn't been painted yet. They're not going to display that until the new City Connect uniforms are out. But they have the Fernando Tatis City Connect bobblehead presented by Big Bully Turf. That will be on Tuesday, September 8th against the Washington Nationals. Dressed in the Padres City Connect 2.0, the Tatis City Connect bobblehead presented by Big Bully Turf channels Nando's flair at the plate, limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. Dynamic details of this bobblehead will make it a centerpiece for your collectibles. Again, we don't know what the City Connect uniforms are yet, but that is what that will look like. Welcome back to the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. Special edition today, obviously, here at Fan Fest. And I knocked out both interviews back-to-back with Mason Miller and Joe Musgrove. We're working on cutting all that stuff for you and trying to get it up on social and wherever you get your podcast. You can also rewind on YouTube as well if you missed any of those. But I was just bang, back-to-back, trying to get as many of those questions in as possible. Now you can really take a deep breath and really lock back in to them, really getting you excited for the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was saying before Miller came down, hopefully there's no one else I see coming out as I speak.
Hey, we'll take
here,
him at this point. I mean,
exactly, 100%.
Who knows? Sorry, afternoon show. Jake Cronenworth decided to come on with us instead.
Yeah, well,
Jake Peavy was busy.
Yeah, to be here at the ballpark on Tuesday, you felt like maybe it could possibly take away, but now to be in the ballpark, walking amongst fans on the concourse, seeing people in the seats, seeing people on the field, it did not diminish the excitement of this day for me at least, having been here just a couple of days ago. So it is definitely, I'm ready to go. After yesterday especially, I'm ready to go.
I'm excited too. I going into Fan Fest, it's like the first kind of tease of baseball, right? You get but there's something about being at this ballpark with people all over the concourse. It's a beautiful day, by the way, also.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It also feels like it's an opening day type weather. It's not cloudy. It's not chilly, right? If it's cloudy and chilly in San Diego and you got people at Petco Park, that's probably Fan Fest. But today feels like an opening day. I feel like we're getting ready to play a baseball game today, and we're not. Like we're getting ready for spring training still in a couple of weeks or so. It's not even February yet. But I tell you what, after talking with Mason and with Joe, I mean, how can you not get excited for Padres baseball?
Spring training beginning in 10 days, 0 hours, 30 minutes, 15, 14,
10 days and 30 minutes, huh? 10 days and 30 minutes to spring training baseball, pitchers and catchers reporting, but who's counting? So there's a lot of different things I want to pick out of that. The overall general synopsis that we have gotten from both Mason and Joe, this pitching staff's got guys that want the ball and want to get after it and want to mow you down. And you know what? I think that is, you got the right personnel. But then on top of that, Joe said it best, and I totally agree. You have a manager in Craig Stammen that has been there, done that. It just recently. It's not like, oh, he used to pitch back in the 1970s, and it's a different game now. He just got out of the game not too long ago, and he knows what it takes. He knows what they're feeling. He knows what the preparation is like. But you have a former pitcher as your manager who could be a pitching coach in its own right. Ruben Niebla, one of the best pitching coaches in baseball. You got the whole staff. Ben Fritz stayed, who's one of the best bullpen coaches out there. Oh, and by the way, you added Bud Black to the organization, who has done a great job as a pitching coach in the past. You have a lot of great baseball minds and pitching minds for this pitching staff that has guys that want to get after it and get at people. And I think that's a recipe for success, especially in the sport that is so reliant on pitching.
Yeah, look at what you have at the top of your rotation. You have Michael King, who you know is not happy about not only how last season went, but how last season ended, only getting one inning against the Chicago Cubs in Game 3 of the Wild Card Series. Then you have Nick Pivetta, who you know we've seen as a Bulldog. We've seen him talking to himself. We've seen him cursing people out on the mound, just trying to keep himself psyched up and amped up. And Joe Musgrove, who you know is just itching to get back on the Major League Baseball mound. So this is going to be a great year, I think, for this pitching staff, and whoever comes up behind them, whether it be, well, you know more or less that Randy Vasquez is going to be at least a part of the rotation, but whoever comes up after that, whether it be Matt Waldron or whether it be J.P. Sears or whether it be someone who's not on the roster yet, are going to fall right in line with that. It'd be just as hungry as ever to have a good year this year.
We're here at Fan Fest. We're here at the section 113 on the on the concourse. Just outside the concourse, in between the ballpark eats and then the tower here at Petco Park. It's a beautiful day down at Fan Fest. We're having a great time. Frank Marchese, myself, Braden Surprenant. We're going to have later on at 2:35. Jake Cronenworth's going to come down and be on with the afternoon show.
Allegedly.
Jake Peavy will be on with the afternoon show too. We're going to be kicking with you for another hour or so here at Fan Fest. So if you're coming on down, come by, say hi. We're also giving away a Yu Darvish signed baseball at the end of our show. In order to win, you have to fill out a little piece of paper and throw it in the hopper. And if your name gets called, you win the Yu Darvish baseball. But you have to be here to win. So if you already put one in for Bennett Woods, it's still in the hopper. Like, you still have a chance. You just got to swing by, come out and hang out with us at section 113. We're going to be here for another hour or so. But I'm excited after talking with Mason Miller and with Joe Musgrove. I love the Camp 44 stuff.
Yeah.
And what Joe is doing with Camp 44, why he started it. And he was saying everything that we've talked about on our show of this is the way we do things. And we're going to do this is the way we're going to run our pitching staff. And this is the way we're going to be as pitchers in a San Diego Padres uniform. So when guys get acquired or they get pulled up or they get, signed or traded for, as mentioned before, they have an understanding of what it means to be a Padres pitcher, and they get some of the team building camaraderie stuff done. So when they show up for pitchers and catchers, we're throwing bullpens and we're getting locked into the regular season. I love this and what Joe Musgrove has started, but it's not like they're not doing workouts. They're doing workouts, but workouts in a team building environment.
Yeah, exactly. And we talk about it so much, especially with Mike Schilt here the last couple of years, the Cardinal way. Everyone knows that once you go into the St. Louis Cardinal organization, it's the Cardinal way. There's no other way. You have to abide by the Cardinal way. And that's what the guys are trying to implement here. And for Joe Musgrove to be the de facto leader of this starting rotation off the field, that is an absolutely fantastic, perfect way to get all of the guys acquainted with everyone, especially the new guys coming in here, and just to get everyone surrounded around a common goal and do it the Padre way.
How about Joe Musgrove talking about getting a little extra juice playing the division rivals as a San Diego kid? That's got to be so fun.
Of course.
You grow up, you hate the Dodgers, you hate the Giants, you hate does anybody really hate the Rockies? Maybe you do. I mean, the Padres haven't had a lot of success against the Rockies. You hate the Rockies, right? Diamondbacks, you go out there, you get that little extra juice. So they're building the hatred as a young kid, but it's slightly different. I mean, these guys know players on all teams. It's not like they hate the player. They hate the logo. They're competing against them all the time, but love having a San Diego kid represent the city of San Diego when he goes out and toes the rubber at Dodger Stadium, you know?
Oh yeah, it's amazing, and that's exactly what you want to hear. It's not like a Michael King who's from the East Coast. He's here in San Diego now. It's like, okay, now I have to learn how to hate the Dodgers. No, this is a kid who's been born with it. I hate this team. I hate this uniform. I hate this logo. I hate pitching in this ballpark, and being at this ballpark. That is an incredible mindset to see. Of one of your guys have, that they want to win just as bad as you do.
Mason kind of talked about it a little bit, and we're going to get more sound and stuff as the afternoon goes around. It's on social media. We can hear from some of these guys that are doing the press scrums, if you will, and the press conferences. But they asked Mason Miller about being a starter, right? And we kind of, I asked in a different way. I asked in a way of like, what's the preparation like? It's like, what's the difference like? And he said, the difference is you need a longer runway to take off. That's the biggest difference. I still believe that if he wanted to, he could. But right now, it's probably the smart decision for him personally to continue to be a bullpen piece. And you see how excited he was when I asked him the question about being part of the pedigree of closers. I mean, when a team like the San Diego Padres, who has produced multiple all-star closers, and one of the most famous ones in Trevor Hoffman, and that team wants you to come be their next closer, that's a major badge of honor, and you could tell how much pride Mason Miller has in being in the next line of Padres closers.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Some organizations have this niche of you always have great starting pitchers. They always have great first basemen. They always have great second basemen. The Padres definitely have that niche with closers, whether it may go back into their history with Goose Gossage coming here, pitching well in the later innings. Of course, Trevor Hoffman. And then even after Trevor Hoffman, you've had some great closers here. Heath Bell was a very, very good closer here for years. You've had big names come through here. Houston Street was here for a while. Craig Kimbrell was here for half a season. And now Robert Suarez continuing that line of good, solid all-star closer. Mason Miller fits right into that role. And as much as, yes, I'm sure you would have wanted him to be a starter, kind of fill a need by just shifting your pitching staff around a little bit, that is honestly where his home is in the bullpen. He's made an unbelievable career there. And of course, I understand the need from him, of the willingness to want to do that from last year, from Mason Miller, but he knows where he knows where his bread's buttered are now. I
mean, if you just go back and look at everybody that was the closer after Hoffman, they're all all-star level closers.
Yeah.
It's Trevor Hoffman, and then it was Heath Bell for 3 years, and then it was Houston Street for 3 years, and then it was Craig Kimbrell, and then it was Fernando Rodney, and then it was Brad Hand, and then it was Kirby Yates, and then it was Mark Melanson, and then it was, you go to Taylor Rogers, and then you got Josh Hader, and then it was Robert Suarez, and now you have Mason Miller. I mean, all of those guys at some point in their career. Now, were they all great closers for the Padres? There's a couple names in there that you'd probably say otherwise. But every single one of those guys has had unbelievable seasons as a closer.
Yeah.
And that is a list that is just unbelievable. And that's like talking before guys like Raleigh Fingers and Goose Gossage and some of the guys before you got to Trevor Hoffman. So Mason Miller definitely loves, well, first of all, he loves being in San Diego. Why wouldn't you? But he gets that extra badge of honor being part of a lineage of San Diego Padres closers, and you can see them light up when you ask them the question.
Oh, Clemento, San Diego.
Yeah, slightly.
What would you rather be in?
I mean, Raleigh Fingers did be. He was up there in Oakland for a little bit too,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
slightly different.
But yeah, no, it's definitely the Padres' knack over the course of the franchise history has definitely been the closer. They have had amazing closers all throughout, and I even said it, after moving here and paying more attention to the Mets and the teams out on the East Coast. The Padres always seem to have those guys in the bullpen. They're like, who the heck are these guys? But they always finished in the top or near the top in team ERA and bullpen and runs allowed in bullpen. They were always there. And now you've got a bunch of guys that are doing the same thing, but they're all household names.
Yeah, all household names. I mean, you can go back to a lot of guys that have been in the Padres bullpen that are not even just closers. I mean, I think back of, when they had, it was the Gregerson, Adams, Bell combo that was so lights out for the Padres. It's guys like Scott Linebrink that would come in out of the bullpen. I mean, so many, Tim Stauffer as a starter, but then he also had some time in the bullpen. I mean, this team has always had really good pitching, especially in the back end. And I look at this year's back end of the bullpen. I mean, it's just dog after dog after dog after dog, and guys that throw some very high velocity. And in this day and age of Major League Baseball, you need that high velo guy coming out of the bullpen. But they got guys like Jeremiah Estrada and Jason Adam and left-handed Adrian Morejon, and they got Mason Miller. I mean, they have a group back there, and that's not even talking about Bradley Rodriguez or some of the, Yuki Matsui or, even Wandy Peralta, who had I thought a pretty good year last year numbers-wise. Fans like to get on Wandy Peralta because, a couple of early outings he wasn't very good. But you look at Wandy Peralta's year last year, he still had a really good year. Yeah. But it doesn't matter where you go. You got a great list. And I haven't mentioned David Morgan, right? Yeah. I mean, haven't mentioned a lot of the guys in that bullpen. So where it might lack a little bit right now in starting pitching, and I don't think they're done yet. I think A.J. Preller's got to move up his sleeve. You look at that bullpen is built to make it through the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, you got the back end of that bullpen has a transformer in it because, again, how Jason Adam is expecting to be ready for opening day with the injury that he had and with the injury timeline that he was projected to have, we thought there was no way that Jason Adam was going to be ready for opening day, let alone before the All-Star break. But the fact that he is where he is in his recovery is nothing short of unbelievable. The bullpen, we thought they were going to get a big piece at the deadline. They might get a big piece for opening day.
I think so too. I mean, we're going to get to some of the stuff on that's been going on at the press conferences. Adam Klug's down there right now getting a lot of sound at these press conferences that are going to be going all day long. But I did see a quote from A.J. Preller we're going to talk about in the next segment to start the next hour because we're getting up to the top here. But, his goal is, and I'll read the exact quote, but his goal is to host a playoff game.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't get to do that last year. And they had opportunities. They had opportunities late in that year, last year, that if they win a couple of games here or there, they're hosting the Cubs instead of having to go to Chicago. And I know it's a big, big goal for this team. They got the bullpen to do it, but they still have a couple of moves that need to be made. I know A.J. Preller knows that, and that's why I also think that there's something up his sleeve going in for 2026.
Yeah, you went into the final, 31 games, tied with the Dodgers. You made a whole season down into a month, and it just unfortunately fell apart.
We're going to talk about that on the other end. We got another hour left of our show. Gwen and Chris are coming up after us. Jake Cronenworth and Jake Peavy will join them. We are the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local every day from 10 to 2. Special show today at Fan Fest from 12 to 2 on the San Diego Summer Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. Back here at Fan Fest at Petco Park, I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. We're on each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3. The Fan Special Edition today out at Fan Fest. Extra day of work for Frank this week.
Extra day of work for you as well.
That's all. Yeah, well, yeah. And then I got to go to my next job right after this. So it's it's a doubleheader today. Yeah, a little doubleheader. What are weekends? You know, that's like the conversation I had with the kids at Saints for the career in sports. I said, you guys better love it because when are sports played? And they're like, I'm like, nights? Oh, yeah. Weekends? Oh, yeah. And holidays.
Oh, that's right.
When do you think you're working? Nights, weekends, and holidays. That's when you work in sports. But when you work in sports, you never work a day in your life. We got to talk to Joe Musgrove today. We got to talk with Mason Miller today. It was great. It was great to be out here at Fan Fest. Hi. How are you? You can when we're done with this current segment. Like a couple minutes. Sorry. Got people asking for pictures and stuff. It's been great. Maybe just a little bit. We break at 1:12, so we'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
I've had kids ask me for I don't even think they know who I am when I sign stuff. I had to ask one of them. I was like, "Do you listen to the radio? What's that?" All right, yeah, okay, here you go.
All righty.
Here you go. I realize that my signature is
depressing myself now.
My signature is like so not legible that I'm now like printing my name underneath just so people know in 15 years. Oh, what Padre was that? Nah, it wasn't a Padre.
Yeah, no.
Wasn't a Padre. It's okay. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do have a favorite number, but I want to. But Matt Kemp wore it here though, so I can't be put at 27. And then the Padres were nice enough to give us City Connect jerseys when they first came out, and it was in 2022, so they gave everybody 22. That was before Juan Soto was on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm walking around with a Surprenant 22 jersey. Everyone's like, what did that guy play for the Padres?
It's a gift, brother. Don't worry about it.
I did one time. I was at Pitchers up in PQ, and I'm wearing the City Connect jersey that the Padres gave me. It's super nice. I love it. It's awesome. It's stitched. It's the whole everything. They gave it to everybody at the station. And I'm wearing it. This guy like taps me on the shoulder, and he goes, in a drunken way, "Who is that? When did that guy play for the Padres?"
Boy.
And I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to deal with this guy right now. He's like, guy was like in his 60s, just upset about the thing. He tried to pronounce it. He butchered it so bad I can't even like recreate how bad he butchered the name. And I was like, can I just watch the game, please?
I just work here,
that
bro.
Guy, except I don't work there. But anyway, he was just, I think he had been drinking since like probably 11 in the morning, and it was like 7:30 at night.
Jeez.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy. All right, let's talk about some of the things. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. So some of the things that I saw earlier today, and we are just like Adam's fingers got to be on fire right now with all of the tweets that he has put out throughout the day. Nick Pavetta's already done some of the media availability. Michael King has done some of the media availability. He's trying to cut videos. I mean, that guy's a madman right now. Joe Musgrove's already done it. You know, he was on with us, of course, too.
Jason Adam apparently is a transformer because he's been throwing today. He's throwing to the kids on the ball field out in Gallagher Square.
You know what he said?
Him and Hoeing both.
He said at the at the Michael King press conference. He said when he joined Sam Levitt on our show. He said he thinks he could be ready to go by opening day. And I'm like, how? I thought for sure, like, they made it sound like his quad exploded when he, had the thing. I mean, he has been able to, recover incredibly fast. I thought we were going to get Jason Adam in May. And it sounds like he might be ready to go by opening day. I mean, if that's the case, you're going to be in your bullpen looks even better than it did coming into the season.
Yeah, that's why I said last segment, too. You thought, like, around the All-Star break, you were going to get a big acquisition in the bullpen. No, it sounds like you're going to be starting the season with that big acquisition. Also good to see Brian Hoeing out there as well, throw to the kids.
That's another name that we've forgotten about.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Hoeing came over in that trade to potentially be a long reliever or a future starter. I don't know if they're going to move him to be a starter. I think the latest report we got a couple of months ago was probably not, but that's another key arm to this team. Another one.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have a lot of pitching depth. You have a lot of bullpen depth. here with this team. The problem is it's the starting pitching. You don't have that starting pitching depth, or at least the quality of starting pitching depth, which is, as we saw yesterday, the 8 teams that might still have something up their sleeve. They all had something in common, and that was the fact that they are looking actively for starting pitching.
So we're looking at some of the quotes again. We're going to try to get some of the sound as much as possible, but we do have one clip on Craig Stammen talking about who's going to play first for the Padres and what Luis Campusano's role with the team is. We're going to get to that in our next segment, but there was one thing that AJ Preller talked about today in his media availability, and it was about how the goal this season is to host a playoff game, to have a playoff game here at Petco Park, host the first round, get that home field advantage. And with that being said, I think that alludes to they're going to make another move somewhere because they got to solidify the starting rotation and they got to solidify this starting lineup because they still need a bat. And they still need to add a starting pitcher or maybe 2 to try to get the depth to make that run in the playoffs.
Yeah, and right now the question really becomes, are you confident enough in the state of the team as it is right now to be able to be in contention come the trade deadline? If the answer to that is yes, then you've got your team going into the season. You'll probably add a minor piece or 2 here and there to help really solidify that. And then you go and you make your big move at the deadline. If the answer to that is no, you still have a couple of days. You still have about a week and a half to go before spring training to get somebody in here to get ready to go before pitchers and catchers report.
Andy Halbrin is the one that tweeted out what Preller said. He said a goal this year is getting home playoff games. What does that mean? Winning the division. Looking for quality at-bats throughout the season, evaluating things honestly, growing and getting to a World Series and winning the World Series. Those are the goals that A.J. Preller said at the beginning of today. And to me, I mean, that should be the goal of everybody in general. But I just feel like he's got something up his sleeve right now when it comes to the regular season, when it comes to, putting this team together, solidifying the roster, and getting ready for spring training.
Yeah, it would absolutely be very on brand for A.J. Preller. That's why I wasn't surprised to see him, not to see the Padres on that list that we ran through yesterday, because it almost feels redundant to say that he's got a trick up his sleeve in an article like that. But it's going to be an interesting couple of days before pitchers and catchers report and throughout spring training to see when and if A.J. Preller is going to make a move. Because remember, the Dylan Cease move didn't happen until the day that they were leaving for Korea to play the Dodgers.
They acquired Craig Kimbrell right before they played that first game in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
they have made these moves before, which goes into what A.J. Preller said earlier today as well, that he will be working on the roster right up to spring training like past years, said they still likely need a bat or 2.
Yep.
They might be adding an additional bat, and that could be via trade. That could be free agents still available. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can still make this roster happen. And we've talked about, some of the rumors that have been out there for players that have been linked to the Padres and how you pull it off and how you make the roster move. There's a lot of moving parts to this, and you might see a couple of new faces in Peoria when we get there in 10 days.
Yeah, because especially, you look at the hole that the Padres have right now, and that would be the first base hole. They don't really have anyone to play there unless you plan on moving Jake Cronenworth over to first base. And then you have a hole at second base unless you're planning on Sung Moon Sung being ready and being acclimated to Major League Baseball by the time you get to opening day. So you definitely do need a bat, maybe 2, in order not just to fill out the bench, but to fill out the opening day lineup going into this season.
They asked Craig Stammen about DH because it's either going to be Gavin Sheets, right? Or it's going to be like a plethora of other players. I mean, what are you going to do with Gavin Sheets? Does he play first base? And we're gonna hear from Craig Stammen in the next segment when he talks about first base and what Luis Campusano's role is. But when talking about DH, he said, we're going to leave that open right now. We're going to leave that open at the beginning of the year. The Padres, since the National League has gotten a DH, have really used that as give a guy a day off spot. They haven't employed a full-time DH like a lot of other teams have because of a couple of things. But I think it pigeonholes you a little bit. Like it didn't end up hurting the Dodgers, but when Freddie Freeman got hurt and they had to move that he could still hit and everything like that, there was no spot for him because you have a guy that is only DHing, right, in Shohei Ohtani. And if you want him in the lineup, he's got to be the DH. So when you look at a team perspective, you can look at it two different ways. You could be the team that, okay, we have this DH, but he can't play in the field anywhere. Or you can have the perspective of, let's get more athletes on the team, and I can then move guys around so if a guy gets hurt, he can still contribute with his bat. Or I got to give Xander Bogaerts the day off on his legs playing in defense. Let him continue to get some good at-bats. Or let's keep Manny off of his legs, but we still want to try to get after it and try to win the series today or try to go for a sweep. And the only way we could do that is by him in the lineup. I honestly, from a team philosophy standpoint, I don't mind the DH spot being open. And Craig said it's going to be at the beginning part of the season, but I can see them leaving it open unless they specifically go sign a bat that can only hit. I think that's going to be open probably at least the first half of the season.
Yeah, it's either been that rotational spot here, give Manny a day off, give whoever a day off, or it's been the spot where you have a guy who you're low payroll, the Yuli Gurriel spot, or the Jason Hayward spot, or the Matt Carpenter spot. Guys that aren't really good enough to play every single day anymore. You signed them to be a bench piece. You signed them to be a contributor. In the case of Jason Hayward or even Connor Joe last year as well, you signed him to be some sort of veteran leadership, veteran presence, a guy who's been there, done that, knows how to get things done. That's also been the way the Padres have used this DH spot. So it'd be interesting to see whether or not they keep going in that direction or if they do try to sign an everyday DH.
Craig Stammen talked about it. He talked about the first base position, and he talked about what Luis Camposano's role might be on this team. And some interesting comments. We're going to play that when we come back. We're live here at Fan Fest, Section 113. We're going to be giving away a Yu Darvish signed baseball at the end of this hour leading into Gwynn and Chris. If you want to try to win that, you got to sign up with the sheet with Hamby over to our right when you walk in. The Gwynn and Chris show will have Jake Cronenworth come on at 2:35, followed by Jake Peavy. They'll continue the day, but if you're out and about and you want to come by, say hi. We'll be here for another 45 minutes or so. You're listening to the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Broadcasting live from Fan Fest here at Petco Park. Crowd's starting to feel the heat a little bit. You know, it's a little warm outside.
Yeah, it is.
Feels like a summer day. It feels more like a summer day than a spring day. But I
still says January, right?
Apparently it says January. It's January 31st. It doesn't feel like January 31st.
Oh, it feels like July.
Yeah, but what a great day here at Petco Park, and I just love what they have built Fan Fest into. I mean, I remember those first couple of years, you know, working before we were even 97 through the Fan, but when we were on 94.9 and doing Padres, I remember we would set up a Padres radio tent, and it was like a farmer's market. And then they had a couple of things at the garage sale, and I think they had a little bit of the players, but it just built and built and built and built. And now, I mean, I don't remember this as a kid. I don't remember this at Qualcomm as a kid. Or maybe they would do it. My parents would never bring me down here. But it's great for the kids because there's actually a lot of activities on the field that you could do.
Yeah.
They have kid run the bases. They have the small bases, and then they have like the actual bases.
Yes.
And kids are doing both. Or maybe the parents get to walk around with. I don't know. They get to do both. So they got the kids run the bases, which is super cool.
They got a pitching machine doing pop-ups over here as well.
Yeah, I did see that. You can get in line, see if you can catch a fly ball. You can play catch on the field, so a lot of dads and moms playing catch with their kids on the field, which is super cool. And then you can actually throw in the bullpen a little bit. You can throw a couple pitches in the bullpen. I think you probably get a handful. There's 2 bullpen catchers over there, so go out there and pitch a little bit. There's a line for that. And then I got some grounds crew stuff, too. Like there's a little like behind-the-scenes look on how the grounds crew does their thing also. Plus there's, you know, autograph sessions that you can sign up for. They have panels. We've seen the pitchers do their panel already in Gallagher Square. Don and Mudd are getting set up to do another one, it looks like. I think Tony Gwynn Jr. is going to lead a panel later this afternoon, but pretty cool stuff here at Fan Fest. I know they got the garage sale going on. I think a lot of the places are 50% off on some of the memorabilia that you can get at the Padres store. So people are loading up on their gear. They're loading up on their Padres stuff. They're taking the kids out. It's a beautiful day today to do all of this. I mean, we are blessed with the weather that we have gotten today, but it gets you excited for Padres baseball. You're excited for the Padres this year. A.J. Preller mentioned, what the goal is, and that's to host multiple playoff games in this year in the fall. So start to hear the crowd a little bit. They're getting excited for who's coming on. Jackson Merrill is up there. We had him on last year. Jackson's, he's just locked in all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he is just always locked in. That's why I had to ask Joe and Mason about, ever go out there and feel like a kid again? And they're like, oh, yeah, like every day. Like throwing. Mason said when he really feels like a kid out there on the field is 3:30, playing catch, empty stadium. And there's something about, and you and I get to be in empty stadiums all the time with our jobs, and it's great.
It never gets old.
It never gets old. And that's any level. I mean, being at the big league ballpark, of course, there's something magical about being at this place, at night when everybody's cleared out or before everybody gets here.
It's the best time.
And seeing the setup. It's like being behind the scenes at like Disneyland before they open it up. I get that same, I see it when I go to USD, I get the same vibe for their basketball arena, their baseball field. It's just something about there's something about being in an empty stadium that's so great.
It's like that first time being on the field here when you get when you get your press pass for the first time, your first press credential, you go into the dugout, you step on the field, and all of a sudden you're just looking around like nobody's stopping me.
That's right.
Like you get that feeling, and that is something that I feel the most blessed about. I know I've taken a lot of pictures of this and posted a lot of them on social media. Being at the ballpark at night after everything's quieted down, the lights are dim. You get the faint rustling of the cleaning crews that are here. The grass lights are out on the field. It's quiet. That is something that I hope that everyone gets to experience, because to me, of course, being in the ballpark for great moments, great games, seeing some of the best players that this world has to put put in a showcase. That's all great, but it's that moment after the game where everything is quiet, the calm after the storm. That's something I really wish that more people would get to experience.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing, and I you know, it's awesome being at some of these events and being able to do a lot of this stuff. You know, you get excited for the season at these, despite like, you know, maybe moves that have or have not been made, and you get into the nitty gritty of roster construction and like seeing other teams improve their rosters and what have you. But the reality of the situation is, it's like as soon as the season starts, you know, everybody theoretically has a chance. And the Padres are a part of that conversation, of course, this season. And I look at it and I look at the way that the rest of the National League shapes up. I mean, there's got to be probably a lot of tougher games in the National League this year than maybe previous years, because everybody's trying to keep pace with what LA is doing. But at the same time, I look at this Padres roster as constructed, and it's probably not done yet. AJ Preller said today that team could still use a couple of bats, and that he's going to be working on this roster up into and through spring training. But currently as constructed, we talked about the pitching staff a lot. You look at the infield, you look at the outfield, you look at the starting roles of this team. Yeah, you might have a little bit of a empty spot first base DH kind of deal, because you have Gavin Sheets. He's going to take one or the other. But look at it as a whole, you got a lot of good players on this team and a lineup and a roster that's a lot better than most teams in the National League.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you would have to consider yourself better than San Francisco. You would definitely consider yourself better than Arizona.
I'll tell Joe Sherman that.
And then there's the Rockies. But, I mean, you know what your goal is. You know who you're going to be facing. You know who you're going to be fighting, and that's the team up north. And this team has put together, I mean, I'm looking back at the end of the season last year. I mean, this team has put together a competitive roster to what Los Angeles has been able to do. It may not be on the same level, but it's a roster that can 100% compete with the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's funny. Like Michael King, you know, he went. Jackson Merrill was talking about that specifically. You know, he said he doesn't think about or focus on the Dodgers. That won't help them win. He's only focused on winning games. He goes into a series against them like they're any other team. That's the mindset that the Padres really need to have. And we haven't seen them actually act on that too many times. The one year they did, they beat the Dodgers' ass throughout the entire regular season. Mm-hmm. They did. I mean, they beat them down throughout the entire regular season, and they were a game away from potentially advancing into the next round and probably getting Dave Roberts fired. Yep. In Los Angeles. I mean, that's how close they were to do it for a second time after they did it in 2022. I mean, that's just how thin the margins are. And so if you have that mentality, you don't make it a bigger deal than it really is. It's just another team. And so you don't have to worry about the team over there. You just got to worry about winning games. And if you take every series as this is our series and just take the 2 out of 3, you're going to rack up the wins and get yourself in a position where now you put the pressure back on LA to try to have to win the division. And you've been close twice. You've made them have to like burn through it the last couple of years. And Jake Cronenworth said this too, and I love what he said. He said, this is the most hungry that I've seen this group.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. And again, we've heard all the right things out of these players the last couple of spring trainings, and we've started to see some of the action, but now it's time for them to get to that next level. And I think a lot of that has to do with the consistency with this team, right? And the more years they play together, the better it's going to be. The more that they play together as a unit, the better it's going to be. And I think that's going to play a major factor in this year. And Jake Cronenworth said it today in his media scrum that, you know, with the World Baseball Classic and guys missing some time, you're going to be missing Manny and Fernando and Xander. You're going to be missing Mason Miller, just to name some of the Padres players that are playing in the World Baseball Classic. Yuki Matsui is playing for Team Japan. And I'm sure there's others that I'm blanking on right now. But when he was asked about how is that going to affect spring training, he said, most of these guys coming back, or most of these guys on our team are coming back. We know what they're going to be. We know what they're going to go through. And that makes it easier for when they leave. And a lot of guys, he said, are going to show up early to spring training. You love to hear that out of the Padres.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when you're going to be missing those guys. That's why, especially those Camp 44 workouts and activities that Joe Musgrove has been able to put together, they mean a lot, especially in a year like this where you're going to be missing guys throughout the spring training process with the World Baseball Classic. So, yeah, it is. It's a great way to build camaraderie. And sorry, just saw a text we got. But, yeah, it's a great way to build camaraderie. It's a great way to get the boys together going into the season. And I'm sure there's stuff we've seen about the World Baseball Classic, specifically around Team Puerto Rico, that we'll get into on Monday when we come back for our normal weekly show. But yeah, this is going to be, it is definitely a big year.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear from the manager, Craig Stammen. He met with the media and talked about what Luis Camposano's role is going to be on the team and say he just needs an opportunity. Plus, Fernando Tatis Jr. opens up about his struggles last year and why he believes it's going to be a big year for him. We're going to hear from both Craig Stammen and Fernando Tatis Jr. Our final segment of the day. At the end of our show, we are giving away a signed Yu Darvish baseball. In order to win, you got to sign up with Hamby over here. We're in section 113. Come by, say hi. Gwen and Chris are coming up at 2 o'clock. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live at Fan Fest, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. There's a look at some of them. We're going to have Frank kind of walk around as I kind of go through what some of these promotional items are. But the Padres today announced their 2026 promotional schedule, including giveaways, theme games, and events. Every homestand, you can get single game tickets for the 2026 regular season home games on sale on Tuesday, February 3rd. So you got to still wait until next Tuesday at 10 in the morning Pacific time by visiting www.padres.com. Season ticket members have priority access to tickets and enjoy the best available seats. Season ticket memberships have sold out for the 4th consecutive season due to franchise record demand, and therefore all remaining tickets for the 2026 season are available on a single game basis. So these will be, you could buy tickets starting on February 3rd. There are 15 all-fan giveaways planned for the 2026, highlighted by fan favorites such as high-quality wearables, stylish hats, and bobbleheads, all of which take place during select home games throughout the season, limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance. There are 3 different styles of hats this year, and there's a bunch of other stuff. We're going to get to that, but we'll just kind of go through the beginning of the season to the end, and see if you can follow along here, Frank, with what we got. But the first giveaway will be on Friday, March 27th. That's the day after opening day. That's the Tony Gwynn opening day. There's going to be an opening series scarf presented by Sequan Casino Resort. Start the season in style with the Cozy Padres opening series scarf, which looks nice. It's great. Nice little scarf. At the beginning games, the early games at Petco Park are usually kind of chilly. But that's a good-looking scarf right there. So that will be against the Tigers on Friday, March 27th. On Monday, March 30th, this one's super cool. On Monday, March 30th, they have the night. I'm a sucker for 1998 stuff. They have a 1998 belt bag, which is perfect for it gets you. It's a bag that you could bring into the ballpark, which is awesome. I know my mom's got a bag like that. My girlfriend's got a bag like that. There's a lot of different. My sister's got a bag like that, and a lot of people use them to get in the stadiums, but now you can have a Padres one, which is great. So 1998 colors too. So they've seen they've debuted the original one that they had. They've had a City Connect one, and now they got a Padres 1998 belt bag. So that will be pretty cool for everybody out there. That's Monday, March 30th. On to Thursday, April 9th against the Rockies will be the Manny's Hot Corner bobblehead. So it's Manny Machado playing third base. They got the flames around the side. It's presented by McDonald's. First 40,000 in attendance. Display-worthy collectible features Machado at third base and is a keepsake for all the faithful. That's a nice little. I like the little bottom there. That's pretty cool. What is that? Is that the armband? Pink armband? Yeah, it looks nice. Again, if you want to go back, you can rewatch this on YouTube and take a look at everything in the on the deal here. Let's move on to the next one. Wednesday, April 15th versus Seattle Mariners. The puffer vest presented by State Farm. That's that vest right there on the table. That's pretty nice. The best part about this is, like, when I was a kid, like, some of the giveaways were kind of lame, but now they have made them so legit. I mean, that's a nice little vest right there. It's presented by State Farm. That will be, again, on April 15th against the Seattle Mariners, a Wednesday game at 6:40. Not a Wednesday day game. That's a Wednesday night game. First 40,000 fans get that. Against the Cubs, there's a waffle beanie presented by Motorola Razr. Waffle beanies on April 28th against the Cubs. Top off your fit with a soft waffle beanie made for night games at the ballpark photo op. This item is limited to the first 40,000 fans in attendance as well. So that's pretty cool. I like the bobblehead. The one they had last year was cool too. But the beanie. The one they had last year was cool too. First bobblehead for Mason Miller, Thursday, May 7th, at least in a Padres uniform. They got the Mason Miller bobblehead. Watch your speed. Elite pitching with a bobblehead that nods to Miller's clutch moments on the mound. He's got fire coming off of the baseball on his delivery, which is super cool. You can bring that a little bit closer to the camera if you want. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So Mason Miller bobblehead giveaway Thursday, May 7th. And there's not, as a Cathedral Catholic town, there's not many Saints guys that I like, but Anthony Sandoval is one of those guys.
Oh,
he's funny in the chat, man. He lurks too. He is also a lurker, but he'll jump in there once in a while, and every time he's got a banger in the chat every single time. We talked to one gentleman that came over here that he's like, I always hear you talking about the chat. Like, what is that? Like, yep. YouTube. He's like, that's on YouTube? I'm like, yeah, our show's on YouTube. He's like, all I have to do is search on YouTube?
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, that's it.
By the way, thank you very much to the ultimate lurker, Jocelyn, who got us some pictures of us and Mason Miller.
That's great.
Live.
Did you send those to me?
Yes, I did. Hamby got us some pictures of us in Musgrove, too. So
amazing. I love it. Yeah, I had the Musgrove one saved. Yeah, you on the plum case or you on the hotspot?
I don't know. It just connected
I'm on
to
the
whatever.
Hotspot.
Yeah, we got you here.
Who knows with the YouTube deal.
All right, so we'll get that sorted out here in just a second.
Where is the hotspot?
It's in the back over there.
Oh man, it could have. Oh, it's plugged in. Yeah, we'll see.
It's connected to the plum case, is what it's saying.
Oh well, that's on. That's on that. All right. So while we're trying to figure that out, we do want to get to the sound from Craig Stammen. Craig talked for a couple of minutes. We had this clip posted. He's talking about first base, who's going to play first base, and what Luis Camposano's role is with the Padres. So here is what Craig Stammen. Said for the during the scrum.
We have several guys that can play first base on our team right now. Right now, penciled in probably as our number one option is Gavin Sheets. Gavin's pretty excited about playing first base again. He played a lot of outfield last year, a little bit at first base, but played that coming up through the minor leagues. And we've got some great infield coaches, position coaches that have been working with him already this offseason. Got him going, and we feel really good about a left-handed first baseman and him being able to do a few more things and being a really big target at first base. I know Manny and Xander are excited about that, being able to throw to somebody a little bigger, a little taller, maybe hopefully save them, a few overthrows. So along with him, we've got Will Wagner that can play first base. Sungwon Song, we're going to try over at first base. Obviously, Jake's played a lot of first base. defensively come in and be a guy that we trust over there. And there's guys like some of our NRIs that are probably going to play first base in spring training that have done it in the past, but we're trying to build a few guys that can kind of play a lot of different positions. And first base, we'll try it out and see what happens.
And playing in DH?
DH, at the current time, we've got a lot of guys that are competing for that spot. Obviously, Song is one of those guys we signed that could fit into that role. But it's probably a spot that we're going to keep open throughout the season, to be able to give Manny a day DHing, Xander a day DHing, Fernando, Laureano, Merrill. I think it's a strategic way to keep those guys a little fresher during the season. Do we have somebody that's like, this guy is the DH? No, we don't have that right now. But we got a lot of competition in spring training. It's going to be fun to see.
Luis Campusano, is out of options? How do you see him factoring in the plans?
Yeah, right now Campy is, probably the leading candidate to be one of the 2 catchers that we'll have on the roster when we break camp. He's done nothing but prove himself in AAA. I don't know what else he could do in El Paso that could, get him ready to be playing in the major leagues. And I think what he's needing right now is just an opportunity. And one thing that he and I have is he caught me, when he came up. And we had those talks of what it's like with a rookie catcher and a veteran pitcher. And at that time, I'm not thinking that this is going to happen later on in life, but I was able to put my arm around him and say, hey, I got you, man. We'll get through this together. And so we're doing the same thing right now. And I'm kind of excited about him having the opportunity to have a really good chance of making the team and being a part of our ball club and being someone that's going to, give us a super big advantage at the catching position and at the plate too.
Is first base an option for him too? I know he's down a bit, or is
he played first base a little bit last year. I know you probably saw him walking around the field with the first baseman. He didn't play first base, I don't think, in the big leagues last year. Played it in AAA. For me, he's a catcher, and that's where we see his biggest value. Is that something we try down the road? Maybe. But at the moment, he's going to catch a lot. You'll see him a lot in spring training catching. And then we also value his bat too. Talking about the DH, like Campy could get some DH bats also.
A lot right there on the catching situation, on the situation for DH, what they're going to do at first base. He made it. He said it. He is a guy, and here's the other part of this. He is a guy that has thrown to Luis Campusano. There's not a lot of managers out there that have played with players that are on their teams. He has thrown bullpens, and he has thrown to Luis Campusano in his career. And he said all he needs is an opportunity. And they're going to give him the opportunity. He has done everything he could potentially do at the AAA level. He's got to be on the roster this year to stay part of the organization. It's going to be a big spring training for Luis Campusano. It's going to be a huge spring training for Luis Campusano coming up. And he needs to try to battle his way to get to a backup catcher's role on this team. And if he can do that and he hits well, maybe he could be part of the conversation at DH. They talk about first base a little bit. Sounds like Gavin Sheets is going to get a lot of reps at first base so far this year. But a lot of things said by Craig Stammen to give Luis Campusano an opportunity to be part of this team this year. And, I look at that as this is a guy that you kept part of your organization, that you didn't trade during a lot of trade deadlines, that was one of the top prospects that you could really use this season for a Padres team. And if Luis Campusano can have a good year and play half as well as he did in the PCL, Padres got an extra guy that they can have ready to go in this lineup that can really benefit this Padres overall roster, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. Apologize for the stream doing what it did there. But, yeah, Campusano could be a very big key. Now, we've discussed that they are looking at trying to bring in another catcher to give some competition for him because Ethan Salas isn't there yet. He's not legitimate competition to be a worry to him as far as the major league roster. But if Campy has a very good year this year, the way he had in El Paso last year, that could really boost the Padres' ability to have a bat come off that bench and really help in a crucial spot. So this is a big year for him.
Huge year for him. And, during that clip, David Morgan's parents came by, said hi, big fans of our show, big fans of the station. I saw them enter the ballpark when their son made the opening day when David Morgan made his Major League debut. And we're walking down there, we got the David Morgan jerseys on coming in. And I'm like, who's what? I was like, who is? I'm like, oh, that's the kid who's going to pull. Oh, it's got to be his parents. It's got to be his parents rolling through. So it was very nice of them to come by and say hi. Gwen and Chris getting ready to get started here after us. Start at 2 o'clock. They're going to have Jake Cronenworth on and Jake Peavy on their show. Should be a fun time with them. Scraby and those guys going to hold things down until 4 o'clock today. We're out in the next 15 minutes or so, but wanted to talk about what Craig Stammen said. Also wanted to get to Fernando Tatis Jr. and what Fernando said today as part of the media availability. We got a lot of this content out there. We're trying to post a lot of the videos on social media. If you haven't done so already, give us a follow, 97 through the Fan SD. You can also follow my social media at B_SURP, at BSURP. You can follow Frank Marchese at FMarks324 on social media. Be sure to follow our show at B_SURP show. And then, of course, give us a follow or subscribe to our YouTube page. We've got extra content on there that we're going to have. Earlier today, we had Mason Miller on the show. We had Joe Musgrove on the show. You could go back and watch those on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. We'll have that all posted for you so you don't miss those interviews that were great today. We had a great time chatting up with those two guys. And they got you excited for Padres baseball and excited for this pitching staff that's got a lot of tough, hard-nosed dudes that want to get after it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really interested to see what Fernando had to say here, because I'm very interested to hear from his side. I mean, we speculated all last year as to what the issue was as far as his offensive struggles and how he was playing. I really want to hear from him to see what we got there.
Yeah, they talked to Fernando and asked him about how it was last year and how he went through some of the struggles. And on top of that, why he thinks this year's going to be a big year for him at the plate. Here's Fernando Tatis Jr.
When you look back on last season, Fernando, what do you think some of the struggles were offensively for you?
Mechanical, more than anything else, but it was actually more about trusting a process that he was going in there, and that I wish I can go into more details, but I definitely feel that's definitely behind us, and I know this year on the offensive side is going to be really special.
You said, I believe it was last year, that when your head's in the right place, you're second to none on the baseball field. Is your head in the right place this year?
It is, and looking forward to keep growing as a player and as a man, and like I said, my best years are definitely ahead of me, and this year is going to be one of those, but there's no limit, and now is due to myself to show you guys that.
When you look back on last season, Fernando, what do you?
So that's what Fernando Tatis Jr. had to say. I mean, he asked about when I have the right mindset, can't be stopped, and he thinks this year's going to be a year like that. It sounds like the days of them, him being a little bit, shaky at the plate or behind him. I think he had to work through a lot of different ways that major league teams are going to attack Fernando. I mean, they go high and inside a lot and then go soft away. I mean, that's hard to deal with. And, us fans, we get upset when Fernando gets a fastball high and in, but that's how a lot of teams are going to attack him. The way that he comes down on his swing, in his swing path, that's how everybody's going to attack you. It doesn't matter if it's Fernando or anybody else. And that's how our pitchers are going to attack other hitters like him in the game. You've got to make them feel uncomfortable. And Major League Baseball showed how they want to attack Fernando Tatis Jr. Now it's up to him to be like, I know I'm going to get something hard and inside, but I got to be able to overcome that and put things together. I think he has put that time and that work in, and I'm excited to see what he's got. I mean, you go through careers in baseball, you see success, and then you have years of down years and not success. But all of these Hall of Fame careers that you see in these statue players, they go through a lot of ups and downs in their career. It's not going to be perfect the entire time Fernando is in a Padres uniform. And I think there's going to be a lot more good years than there are bad years with Fernando.
Yeah, you are going to have up years. You're going to have down years. You're going to have your issues. And also not just that, and the way pitchers were attacking him, also had a lot of off-the-field issues last year, dealing with the lawsuit and all that. So there was a lot of things.
A lot of distractions,
that were
say.
taking
Not like
his mind
not massive
off of,
off-field issues,
Yeah,
but
more exactly.
stuff that he had, adult stuff they had to deal with.
Yeah, and that's my apologies for making it sound that way. But that's all stuff that he was dealing with, that he was just starting to deal with, and that was in the process of it, and taking his attention off of Major League Baseball. And as much as you want to say you got to leave it at the door, that's hard to do sometimes, especially with the things that was good, the distractions that he was dealing with last year.
It is hard to do. It's incredibly hard to deal with a lot of different times. I mean, it's one thing to say like, oh, you can go out there and let everything in your life get put that off the side. It's hard to do as an athlete. It's hard to do for a young athlete. But I look at Fernando and I think he's made the adjustments in terms of the approach. I think he's made the adjustments towards what he's expected to see from Major League pitching this year, and how Major League Baseball teams want to attack him. And I expect Fernando to have a big year. I mean, that's also part of this team, right? Is they need the guys that they spent a lot of money on to be stars to go out there and be stars. And we've seen highlights of that throughout their careers. But if they put it all together, again, it's a different looking ball club. That's why I look at this team and look what they have as a core. They got really good baseball players that can really make a run at this thing. Add a batter too, like AJ Preller said, he thinks the team still needs, and they're in really good shape. And as I've said before, you take this team and you go into the season tomorrow, they're a playoff caliber team. Are they going to be able to make it through the entire season? I don't know, but at least to the deadline, they're going to be one of the best teams in the National League, depending on injuries and how everything else plays out with that. But you want to make a run in the playoffs, they still have to add a bat for sure, maybe two, and they really need to solidify that starting rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we were discussing a little bit earlier in the hour is, do you think you're okay? If you think you're okay enough to make it to the deadline, okay, off we go, into spring training we go. And then you sign your big piece at the deadline. But if you don't think that you're starting to run out of time, even though you do have the leverage with some of these guys, you think you're starting to run out of time to acquire a big name coming into spring training.
I don't think it's going to be like a big name. We saw the report.
So a useful piece.
They're going to go find somebody useful for sure. I think there are options out there that are affordable. I think there's options out there that they could trade for. It just might not be in free agency. And the other thing, too, is you might have some players shine in the first couple of weeks of spring training that might not fit on the team. I mean, that's the other thing, too. Like, there are players on this roster that have to make the opening day roster to stay part of this organization. There might be a couple of those guys that just miss out on a spot that then you can flip to a team that really could use that help and then make some deals that way. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of those moves happen. We got a report from Mark Feinsand about, old friend Luis Arraez getting, mulling some offers of a 1-year deal or a couple 2-year deals throughout Major League Baseball. He wants to play second base again. That's going to be a heavy factor. I don't think that's including the Padres.
No.
Because I don't think second base is open for him here in San Diego. I don't think you can do that. So, I mean, they're going to have to find some type of avenue to get a bat in this organization. There's been rumors out there about some links to players like, can the Padres go get a Nick Castellanos from the Phillies? I don't necessarily know if that's the right move for the Padres.
I don't think
Very
so.
expensive piece. Phillies would have to pay for most of that, in my opinion, but I think there's some deals to be made. And as AJ Preller said today, we are going to be, or he said, I'm going to be working on this roster up until we start spring training and through spring training. And he said they need a couple of bats. And to me, I think that's very telling in itself. Did you notice what Joe Musgrove said about Michael King?
No.
Well, he said, plus you got King coming back, and now he's got his contract, so he don't have to worry. He could be here a couple of years. What does he know?
That's,
You know what? This guy just saying, like, He made it sound like he might be here. It wasn't
opt in.
Right, exactly. I just those guys are tight. They just did Club 44 together. You know, he understands his pitchers. He understands the guys on this team.
Nick Pavetta, too. He's on an option year as well.
Yeah, there's Jake Peavy up there. He's walking around, saying hi to the fans. He'll be down here with Gwynn and Chris in about 45 minutes or so.
Possibly. Could be earlier.
Yeah, it could be earlier. A lot of the guests today have been earlier. But anyway, if you missed any of our interviews, we had Mason Miller on earlier today. Go back on YouTube and watch that. You can also go back wherever you get your podcasts and check that out. Joe Musgrove was great today. Maybe you go back and read the tea leaves a little bit on where do you think Michael King's staying for a long time. But that'll do it for us. That was a quick 2-hour show.
Yes,
He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Big thanks to all the fans coming out today for Fan Fest. Coming up next, we got the Gwynn and Chris show. Jake Cronenworth's going to join them. Jake Peavy's going to join them. We got a Yu Darvish baseball to give away as well. And we're out. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. Gwynn and Chris coming up next.